Let me make sure I'm ready for this video real quick. Got my notes? Check. Pepsi? Check. Sunglasses? Check. Hat? Check. And yes, thick skin? Check. Let's go. Welcome to Golden Bluted, everybody. If you are a college football fan, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button because that's all we do here. Videos every single day. And when you get a chance, go check out our Patreon page. We have a lot of great perks over there. We call our Patreons the shot callers because they call the shots around here. Remember, $5 and up Patreons will get to decide the game that we're going to live stream in the regular season, and you'll get to watch with me, Golden Bluted. And our score prediction contest will be coming back. Every week I'll pick out a game, and my Patreons will pick the score, and whoever comes close to the score wins $20. And you can win as many times as you want. You know, the state of Florida is loaded with historically great programs when it comes to college football schools. And they all want to be considered the best in the state of Florida. They own the state of Florida. Florida State, and Miami, they all have valid arguments as to why they could say they own the state of Florida or that they're the best in the state of Florida. And it gets even closer when you go year by year because they always beat up on each other. And over the past few years since I started my YouTube channel, I've noticed that Miami fans especially are mad because they feel like they get disrespected because they truly do think that they're the best school in the state of Florida, and they think other schools take them for granted, forget what they have done, and forget that they actually could be the best team in Florida right now. Not just historically, but right now. But let's go historically first, alright? This is Miami versus all the other teams, alright? Special shout out to Hurricane22Y. He's the one that came up with the graphics for Miami versus the other Florida schools. The reason I chose Miami is because they've had the most success against the other teams in the state of Florida. We'll start with FAU. They are 3-0 against FAU. That's 100%. FIU, they're 3-1. They've actually lost to FIU. That's not good, but that's still 75% winning percentage. They're actually 5-1 against South Florida, so you've actually lost to South Florida too, but a winning percentage of 83.3%. Good news is you are 2-0 against UCF. That's 100%. And then there's Florida. Miami owns the advantage 29-27. That's a winning percentage of 51.8%. That's really, really close, but Miami does have the lead, and that's all that matters, right? And then finally, Florida State. Miami has 35 wins and 31 losses, so a winning percentage of 53%. Once again, close, but Miami holds the lead. You can't argue with numbers. Miami does own the state of Florida historically. Miami fans also get agitated about their mascot. Why do you have a bird for your mascot? That looks like a duck. Well, here's a picture. Special shout out to Uncle Lou because he's the one that came up with this picture. So you're able to do a side-by-side comparison of what an ibis looks like, or ibis, I don't know how it's pronounced. It's supposed to be the bird. That's the mascot for Miami. Side-by-side with the actual Miami mascot. They don't really look that much alike, do they? Well, when you compare Miami's mascot to the current Oregon Duck mascot, which is a bit cartoonish, it doesn't look like that type of duck. But when you compare it to what Oregon tried to do in remaking their mascot, and that failed miserably, I would say Miami's mascot does look more like a duck than what the rebooted version was for Oregon. So there is an argument that your mascot does resemble a duck. I'm just saying. It doesn't resemble the cartoon version that Oregon has, but it actually looks more like a duck than the rebooted duck that Oregon tried. And what is this ibis or ibis? I don't know how you pronounce it. Well, I looked it up and it actually is relevant. According to folklore, so I don't know how true this is, it's a symbol of knowledge found in the Everglades in Egypt. And it's the last sign of wildlife to take shelter before a hurricane and the first to reappear after the storm. So basically with that mascot, they're warning the opponents a hurricane is coming. And then afterwards it's supposed to symbolize victory because it's supposed to be the first thing you see after the storm has passed. Well done, Miami. That's actually well thought out. What about the U? Where did that come from? Why do they have it? Well, a lot of people say that the U actually suggests some slogans. One of them being, "You gotta believe." Another one being, "You is great." Another one is, "You can beat anybody." So that actually makes sense as well. And it is the University of Miami. That's what I thought it was, just U for university. Now back to football. I kind of got sidetracked there. So historically, Florida State has 3 national championships, 1993, 1999, and 2013. So they do have a national championship less than a decade ago. 3 national championships. Now for Florida, they also have 3 national championships, 1996, 2006, and 2008. So less than 20 years ago, right? Now for Miami, they have 5 national championships. 1983, 1987, 1989, 1991, and 2001. So they have 5 national championships. The only problem is their last national championship is actually over 20 years old. So they don't have the most recent bragging rights. But overall, Miami does have the most national championships. So I would say technically they have the bragging rights there. What about currently, right now, the here and the now? Well, let's look at 2021. Miami finished 7-5, second in the ACC Coastal, head-to-head against other Florida teams. They lost at Florida State 31-28. That's not good, Miami. All right, let's talk about Florida. They finished 6-7, 6th in the SEC East. Head-to-head against other Florida teams, they went on the road and beat South Florida, aka UCF, 42-20. They beat Florida State 24-21, but lost to UCF in their bowl 29-17. 2-1. That's better than 0-1, right? And then there's Florida State. They went 5-7 last year, 5th in the ACC Atlantic. They beat Miami head-to-head 31-28, but then lost at Florida 24-21. How do you determine who's the best? Wait, hold on. We are forgetting one team, and although UCF doesn't have a national championship, they believe that they have a really good argument to claiming a national championship back when they went undefeated and beat Auburn in a high-profile bowl. But last year, UCF went 9-4, 3rd in the AAC. What about head-to-head against other Florida teams? Well, they beat South Florida, aka USF, 17-13. And they beat Florida in the bowl game 29-17. So they were actually 2-0 against other schools in the state of Florida. So for last year, just for that year, I would say UCF would actually own the state of Florida. Now I have 3 big fan bases mad at me. That's just awesome. Now let's look at this year. Let's look at their schedule and what my prediction for each of these teams are. First, we'll start off with UCF. They get FCS South Carolina State at home, Louisville at home, at FAU, Georgia Tech at home, SMU at home, then they get their bye week, Temple at home, at East Carolina, Cincinnati at home, at Memphis, at Tulane, Navy at home, and at South Florida, aka USF. I think UCF picks up 3 losses at FAU, at East Carolina, and at Memphis. I just don't think UCF is a very good road team. But overall, 9-3. Basically what they did last year. Now time for Florida State. Here's a look at their schedule. Duquesne, LSU, and New Orleans. Then they get their first bye week. At Louisville, Boston College, Wake Forest, at NC State, Clemson. Then they get their second bye week. Georgia Tech, at Miami, at Syracuse, Louisiana, and Florida. I think Florida State goes 5-7 with losses to LSU and New Orleans, at Louisville, at NC State, Clemson at home, at Miami, at Syracuse. Now, if that were a home game, I'd pick Florida State, but they're not going to go on the road to the Dome and beat Syracuse. Just not going to happen. And then finally lose to Florida at home. Next up, Florida. Here's a look at their schedule. Utah, Kentucky, South Florida, aka USF, at Tennessee, Eastern Washington, Missouri, LSU. Then they get their bye week. Georgia in Jacksonville, at Texas A&M, South Carolina, at Vanderbilt, and at Florida State. I think Florida goes 6-6, so I do think you get to a bowl this year. Their 6 losses, well, their first loss is either going to be a home game against Utah or a home game against Kentucky. I think they'll win one and they'll lose one, but I can't pick which one will be which. Another loss will be at Tennessee, LSU at home, then Georgia in Jacksonville, at Texas A&M, and then South Carolina at home. And finally, Miami. How do I think the Canes will finish in 2022? Well, here's a look at their schedule. They get FCS Bethune-Cookman at home, Southern Miss at home, at Texas A&M, Middle Tennessee at home. Then they get their bye week. North Carolina at home, at Virginia Tech, Duke, at Virginia, Florida State, at Georgia Tech, at Clemson, and then Pitt at home. I think Miami goes 10-2 with their only 2 losses at Texas A&M and at Clemson. Now they could slip up, say, on the road against Virginia or the home game against North Carolina, but I think Miami is going to be much better than what people realize. I have Miami having a 10-win season in 2022. Now they only play one Florida team, so I think they'll go undefeated 1-0 against other Florida schools. Florida State has to play 2 other Florida schools, and that's Miami and Florida. Sorry, Florida State fans, but I think you lose both of them going 0-2. Florida also plays 2 fellow Florida schools, USF, aka South Florida, and Florida State on the road. And I think Florida wins both of them, so they go 2-0 against their fellow Florida schools this year. And then finally, UCF. I think UCF goes 1-1 against other schools in the state of Florida. I think they lose at FAU, but then beat at South Florida, aka USF. So both Florida and Miami will have a claim to be the best team in the state of Florida this year. I think they made a great hire with Mario Cristobal, their head coach, and a big hire that people are not talking about is Adai, the secondary coach. every time he's gone to a new school, that school's defense immediately becomes elite. So I think Miami will have an elite defense, and they'll have a quarterback in Tyler Van Dyke that's going to be a dark horse Heisman Trophy candidate. So Miami is going to be a very, very dangerous team in 2022. That's why I think they're going to have a 10-win season. Y'all let me know in the comments section. Do you agree with me? Do you think Miami is the best school in the state of Florida historically? And do you think they'll be the best school in the state of Florida in 2022? That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.